Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into, well, a really fantastical world, straight from a novel. And we're looking for these surprising insights about power, family, and those unexpected alliances that kind of pop up in maybe unconventional places.
Yeah, we're digging into The Harem of Aman Akbar by Elizabeth Ann Scarborough. It's got adventure, magic, but also this really unique take on, what it means to be a quote-unquote captured woman.
Right. So our mission today, we're exploring how the protagonist, Rasa, she's this warrior chieftain's daughter,
Mhm.
how she navigates this world. I mean, it's full of djinns, shapeshifters, complex customs. We're really looking for those, like, aha moments,
Mhm.
the bits that show her strengths, how she adapts, things that maybe challenge what you'd expect.
Yep.
So, yeah, get ready for some pretty wild twists. Wait, and let's start with Rasa from the Yatsani tribe. Her outlook, especially as a third daughter, is pretty bleak, isn't it? Her father wanted sons. And she basically says the only alternative to just being a girl forever is being captured, enslaved, ravished, and married only when we bear male children. It's dark stuff.
It really is. And it's crucial context because Rasa is just, she's not a typical damsel at all. Her father, yeah, he despaired of sons, but he also saw something in her. Taught her to fight dagger, lance, taught her hunting bow and arrow, how to handle wild ponies. And she says herself this training stood me in good stead when her camp gets raided. It immediately sets her apart.
And that raid, I mean, her introduction to captivity is just visceral. Imagine waking up, she says, to the agony of my scalp as each hair tried to rip from its native soil, just dangling there by her braids. Next to another woman, Amollia. And this guy, Chumi, his voice is described as slimy. He hisses this threat, give us what we want, or you'll be bald and fed to crocodiles.
Yeah, brutal. But then, almost immediately, she's sort of delivered from squalor.
Hmm?
A Djinn appears, one of these powerful magical beings, tells her she's getting this high honor. She's going to the Harem of Aman Akbar, who's described as like the richest man in Karistan, hero of 1,000 adventures. Big shift.
Huge shift. And the palace itself, total opposite of her home. It's a mountain of moonlit walls, golden spires, and billowing domes.
Yeah.
Just opulent. But the customs are just as foreign. Like Aman calling her Rasa. It makes it sound pretty, like first blossom of spring.
Mm.
But she knows it means wild grass or weed. It's a subtle thing, but telling, maybe, about perception versus reality.
Definitely. And that clash hits hard almost immediately. Take the bathing drum scene. She calls it a chamber of horrors. It looks tranquil, but then turns into a whirlpool. She talks about suffocating steam, these needlings of the water jets, sponges flying around. It's just this total sensory assault, a real test right off the bat.
And then there's the meal, where Aman Akbar feeds her by hand, these tender-looking morsels.
Mm-hmm.
But for Russ's people, that's only done for, like, little kids or sick people. So it becomes this weird, silent, giggling meal. Kumquats, rice, pistachios, lamb, sherbets. It's supposed to be intimate and honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for her, it's just awkward, uncomfortable.
Exactly. And then we start meeting the rest of the household. And that's where the idea of a simple harem just dissolves. You've got his mother, Aman, constant wailing.
Okay.
She hates, Djinn calls him an uncouth ifrit, hates the wives' foreign tarts. You immediately get this vibe of, tension, traditional disapproval.
Yeah, she sounds like a piece of work. And then there's Aster, who introduces herself not as a slave, interestingly, but as the 135th daughter of the great elephant. Boom. Says she's used to having loads of sisters and mothers. Turns out Aman bought her, and she's actually a traveling player. Being a princess is just a role for her. So you have this mix, right? The mother-in-law, the actress, Amollia. How does this setup start to challenge our maybe preconceived notions of a harem?
Well, it's immediately clear it's not just, a collection of passive women waiting around. It's a social ecosystem. There's politics. Amon's constant complaining. There are these unexpected personalities like Aster, who has this clear sense of self, even being bought. And Amollia offers this quiet solidarity, maybe, and you have these cultural clashes. It's complex from day one. It hints at a different kind of family.
Okay, so Rasa's in this strange new world. Aman seems fond of her, but she gets restless, right? She can't speak what was in my heart and mind to him. That warrior spirit is still there. So she starts exploring, follows him on one night, finds secret passages, sees the seedier side of Karistan. She's starting to carve out her own space, her own understanding.
Right. And meanwhile, Aman is still pushing her agenda, wants Aman to marry his cousin, Hayaganush, his supposed true love. So there's that family pressure cooker element simmering in the background, too.
And this is where it gets, well, truly bizarre. Aman wants to impress Hayaganush. He tries using the Djinn's bottle to, I guess, magically appear in her room. But Hayaganush gets spooked by the Emir showing up, panics, unplugs the bottle
Yeah.
and accidentally wishes Aman Akbar into an ass. Like, she literally calls him a great ass.
Oh.
And boom, something funny happened. The Djinn confirms it. That was thy wish. And he's back in the bottle.
And the Djinn later clarifies something important about his magic. He says he can only occupy existing forms. He can't create something new, which implies, the form of an ass was already conceptually available. Anyway, his obligation to Aman is done. And worse, the Emir now has the bottle and the cork.
So just like that, Aman Akbar, hero, rich guy,
Yeah.
now a donkey, braying. And the women, Aman, Rasa, Amollia, Aster, they're suddenly destitute, beggared.
Yeah.
The gate's locked, Emir's seal on it. And 3 mouths to feed, plus a donkey husband. How does this insane twist just completely flip their situation? It throws them together in a totally new way, doesn't it?
Completely. It obliterates the old power structure. Aman's status is gone, literally transformed. The women, who were dependents, now have to be the leaders. They're forced into this incredibly vulnerable, kind of absurd new family unit. Survival now depends purely on them, on their wits, not on Aman's wealth or reputation. Talk about being pushed out of your comfort zone.
Okay, so they have to flee. They end up joining a caravan, heading into the desert, dangerous journey. They think they're safe, a delusion of protection, the text says. But then brigands attack. Led by this guy, Marid Khan, it's chaos, a real test for this new, fragile group.
And what's interesting is how everyone reacts in the fight. Aman, the donkey, actually fights back. He bucked and bit those who would steal him.
Yeah.
Amolia's leopard, Kalimba, attacks too. And later, the Djinn admits he was helping out secretly. He says he entered from time to time the body of thy cat, Dark One, that's Amollia, to prevent thy husband from coming to harm. He even complains it took him ages to catch up overland because he kept having to backtrack for them. Shows a lingering loyalty, maybe?
Yeah, despite being bound to the Emir. And even, Aman gets in on it. Despite all the wailing, she fights. Her nails like talents. Rasa naturally fights too. Starts with a useless decorative sword, then nabs a decent scimitar.
Yeah.
But the key figure here is Marid Khan, the brigand leader. He's described as an extraordinary rebel prince. Initially, he sees the women as just booty, standard stuff. But then they tell him the donkey is Aman Akbar, and he's horrified. Just sits down abruptly. What does that reaction tell you about him and about how status works here?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Marid Khan, this powerful rebel, is completely thrown by the identity of the donkey. It shows that Aman Akbar's reputation, his legend, still holds immense weight, even in this absurd situation, even among outlaws. So honor and past deeds matter. The women realize they can't win the fight, so they accept his hospitality. It's a practical choice, an alliance of necessity, but it's founded on this strange mutual respect for who Aman was, despite what he is now.
Okay, things take another strange turn. They get whisked away somehow, transported miraculously on a sacred prayer rug of Saint Selima. They land at the shrine of Fatima, a holy woman. Divine intervention, maybe.
Seems like it. And Fatima is a really important figure. She offers wisdom, guidance. Turns out she was in a harem once herself. Left it, followed Saint Selima, found her life became more useful.
Yeah.
She gets the situation, understands jinns, understands divs, these other powerful shape-shifting beings. And she gives Rasa a crucial tool, the headcloth of Selima, allows her to talk to animals. This isn't just magic, it feels symbolic, right? Giving her a way to understand, to connect on a different level.
And Fatima sets them a new task, a quest. They need to get a lemon, but not just any lemon, from a specific tree in the garden of the king of the divs, in the mountains. And she says the king must eat it personally. Why? Because it contains knowledge of bitterness beneficial to one whose life has been too sweet. So it's not just fetching an item. It's about delivering perspective, empathy.
Exactly. It's a quest with a philosophical purpose, to force understanding on someone powerful but perhaps naive. So this leads them to the divs' hunting lodge. They meet 3 supposed princes. But surprise, they're actually divs. These beings who can change into anything. And in a really chilling callback, they capture Rasa, Amollia, and Aster, and hang them by their hair from iron rings, just like Rasa saw carved in that temple earlier. Horrifying.
Right when things look dire, the Djinn shows up again, first as a snake, to warn them. He confirms he can't directly intervene. The Emir has his bottle.
What?
The cork, which seals his soul. Aster has it. That gives them leverage. And he repeats that key difference. Jinns only occupy existing forms. Divs, they can create forms, turn into anything.
Why is hammering home this distinction so critical right now?
Because it unlocks the how. It confirms how a man was changed. The Djinn used an existing form. And it highlights the unique and perhaps more dangerous power of the divs they're now facing. Divs create. Understanding this magical rulebook is absolutely key to figuring out how to reverse Aman's transformation. and how to deal with the divs themselves. Okay, so Rasa manages to escape the immediate danger. Pretty cleverly, too. She gets snatched by a sunmerg, this giant mythical bird, ends up in its nest with the babies.
Right, a classic figure from Persian myth, often wise.
And using Fatima's headcloth, she can understand them. She even flatters the mother bird. Oh, is this merg most beauteous? And it works. This unexpected communication lets her get away. Resourceful.
Very. She makes it back to the Div Palace, sneaks past this bizarre creature, a bitiger, 2 bodies, 8 paws. Creepy. And inside, she finds Haiganush, Aman's cousin, also imprisoned, tied by her hair, just like them.
And here's the massive reveal. They encounter the Peri Queen. She's a type of fairy, was one of the Div King's favorites, now also chained by her hair. And she explains the magic. She says, any magic requiring shape-shifting to an unprefabricated body requires our help, meaning the Div's help.
Yeah.
Her own magic is tied to her hair, and it's fading as she's bound there. This is it, right? The big aha moment. It explains everything.
Absolutely. That one line connects all the dots. Haiganush's wish worked because the Djinn, being sort of linked to the Divs via the bottle or magic system, could channel their power for that specific kind of shape-shifting. It wasn't just the Djinn occupying a form, it needed that Div element for the unprefabricated shift, presumably into that specific S. So now they know. Haiganush, the one who made the wish, is key to undoing it. Using the Djinn via the cork Aster holds, they have a plan.
Right. So armed with this knowledge, and Aster holding the crucial cork, Aster, Rasa, and Amollia head to Bukesh. They cook up this disguise. Aster poses as a princess of Wu, wife of the king of Persia. Rasa and Amollia are her guards. The goal, get into that king's harem and find the Djinn's bottle, which the emir presumably gave him or lost there somehow. Bold move.
Very bold. And the danger isn't over. King Sani, the Div king, retaliates remotely, sends a plague of bedbugs to their rooms in Bukesh Palace, and Rasa finds a message literally scratched onto her skin. Beware the revenge of Sani. It shows the Div king's reach. He's still a threat, even from afar.
Okay, things converge in Bukesh. The king there is just a kid, 12 years old, petulant, loves elephant fights. And who shows up but the Emir Onan, bringing gifts. He presents Haiganush and Aman as slaves, and Marid Khan captured as a notorious bandit for execution.
Oh, wow.
So everyone is suddenly in the same place. High stakes.
Extremely high. And the drama spikes in the king's bathhouse. The emir brought dancing girls. Turns out they're magical creatures. They morph into crocodiles, attack the women, but guess who saves the day? Aman, the donkey. He bravely jumps in, bucked and bit the crocodiles, protects the women. It's this amazing moment of heroism from him in his most vulnerable form. The hero finds his courage again.
Incredible. So this leads to a big royal court scene. Everyone gets to testify. The king is annoyed by all the chaos. His first instinct, kill everyone, orders 7 executions instead of only 1. Aman and Marid Khan to be trampled by an elephant. The women, sewn into bags, drowned as adulteresses.
But then, another twist. The elephant chosen for the execution refuses. It's the king's biggest and newest elephant, but it recognizes Amollia, remembers her. It felt her hair with its trunk and basically shields the group.
That elephant they helped back near Fatima's shrine.
Exactly. That act of kindness comes back in the most unexpected way. It literally stops an execution. What a payoff for that earlier connection. It completely undermines the king's authority in that moment.
It really does. Talk about unexpected allies.
And right then, Fatima makes her entrance, the holy woman. She gives the young king 2 things, a broken hand charm and that special lemon from the Div's garden. She explains its purpose. Knowledge of bitterness, for one whose life has been too sweet. The Djinn, now that Aster has the cork properly secured, can finally speak freely, admits his conflict, how he helped Aman secretly in the cat's body.
So the king eats the lemon, and it works. Instantly, he gets it. This knowledge of bitterness, it's like a switch flips. He sees the truth. This isn't just magic food, it's empathy delivered via citrus. How does this simple taste change everything?
It allows him to finally understand, to see past the emir's lies and manipulations. He gets a dose of the suffering and complexity others have faced. And with that understanding comes justice. He pardons Marid Khan, gives Aman back to Aman, frees Haiganush to choose her own path, punishes the emir. It's a powerful statement. True leadership needs empathy, needs that understanding of bitterness, not just sweetness and power.
Amazing. So wrapping this all up, what's the final picture? Aman Akbar gets turned back, becomes king of Kharistan, Marid Khan is his advisor. What a journey from donkey to king.
Right. And the harem itself is completely transformed. It's not a prison, but this core group of allies. Aman finds a new purpose, becomes a holy woman, devoted to Salima's animals, especially, fittingly, asses. Amollia is a mother, a diplomat, telling stories of her ancestor, the great elephant, wisdom, connection. Aster, the actress, is still Aster, critiquing Rasa's storytelling skills now. Their dynamic continues.
And Rasa herself. She's definitely not the barren wife her father might have worried about. She's Aman's key advisor on practical matters, stables, the guard. She's learned to read and write. She found her power, her place. And she acknowledges how it happened. Loyalty and honor and the sealed cork in Aster's sleeve. Her journey shows you can find agency, make real change, even from the most seemingly powerless positions.
Absolutely. The whole story basically says power isn't just about titles or magic bottles. It's about alliances, understanding, even if it comes from sour lemon resilience, adaptation. Those bonds they forged, initially out of desperation, ended up being stronger than any palace wall or magical curse.
So this deep dive really makes you think, doesn't it? It leaves us with this final thought. What about our own lives, our own circles? How might our own harem, that mix of diverse people, different perspectives, maybe even relationships we initially resist, how might that actually become the source of our biggest strengths, our most surprising successes? Something to chew on.